listening to Haunted Family Podcast, a weekly podcast about the paranormal, unsolved mysteries, and even some true crime.
And even.
And tonight is very much true crime.
Well, I think this is not only true crime, but it's also very much a topic that we talk about a lot on this show.
Yes, it is. And I kept thinking that during all of this research, I was so pissed off at the unnecessary. I mean, not that any death is necessary, but this could have absolutely been avoided. It could have been avoided.
We actually we followed this case very closely when it happened because this death happened about almost a month to the day after we saw this same band that she saw the night she died.
Well, attempted to see.
Yes. For those of you all who don't know, I have the most awesome sister in the world.
True story. She does.
Very much so. A couple years ago for my birthday, she took me to Waverly Hills. And in 2009, she took me to see Metallica.
Oh, yes. See, Metallica is my favorite band, so it was really not a selfless gift. Because I really wanted to see them too.
And since it's her favorite band, I of course grew up with listening to them because, she was the older sister. Whatever she would listen to, we all listened to.
Yeah, loudly, whether you wanted to or not. They are so much my favorite band that I always tell people my kids had no choice but to be Metallica fans because I sang them Enter Sandman as a lullaby.
Yeah. We saw them in the infamous U.S. Bank Arena, which was the site of the 1979 Who concert that resulted in, 11 people dying and 26 other people being injured?
Yeah, I didn't know that happened there.
Yes.
Crazy.
I do not believe it was called the U.S. Bank Arena at the time, though.
I would say probably not. No, it's very weird because we did not get to our concert. We did not get to our concert early. We actually completely missed the opening act.
Apparently, it was called Riverfront Coliseum at the time.
Ah, okay.
No, we missed. There was 3 bands that opened for them that night, and we
caught
the last song of Gojira.
Yeah, and we had to park so far away from the arena because we got there so late that honestly we were a little worried about something similar happening to us on our way to our car because it was
when we were walking through Cincinnati riverfront area after dark and we're just 2 females,
right? And by the time we got to our car, well, we were with a horde of people as we came out, and then as we kept walking, people groups kept dropping off. So by the time we got the last 100 or so feet to our car, we were the only 2 people on the street, and it was a little creepy. It's not lit up the best in the world, and it was a not desirable neighborhood, and
of course, it being a concert, we wasn't allowed to take in any of our normal means of protection.
Right, so we had no pepper spray, we had no knives, we definitely didn't have any guns.
We were actually almost accosted walking into the arena by 2 older drunk men who apparently think it's okay to sexually harass females.
Yeah. Other than those 2, though, I always joke that if you are a girl who wants to pick up guys, you and female friends go to a metal concert because Heather and I were not interested in picking up anybody, but we got hit on all night long.
Yeah.
I was married. She was in a serious relationship. And all night long we were like, oh, no, we're taken.
Yeah. But I think some of our listeners may have already caught on that we are talking about Morgan Harrington.
Yes.
Who on October 17th, 2009 was really super excited to go see a Metallica concert because, you're paying that much for a ticket, you better be excited to go.
Yeah, really.
And sadly, never got to see the concert at the end.
No, actually, she never even got to see Metallica because during the opening act, and I'm not for sure if the same bands opened up for them. I assume that
Let me see if I can find who opened for them in the Charlotte concert.
I'll just keep talking then. So, she and two of her friends, all female, decided to go to this concert, and it was at John Paul Jones Stadium on October the 17th. And it was at, did I already say John Paul Jones Stadium at Virginia Tech?
Said that.
Sorry, it's been a long week. Anyway, at Virginia Tech in Charlottesville. So she has a flask with her, and it has some sort of alcohol in it. So even though the friends took her car, she didn't drive, and she didn't keep her keys. So she gets in to the arena and decides that she needs to go to the bathroom. And her friends allow her to go to the bathroom alone, even though she's been drinking. And at some point during that time, she falls and possibly hits her head, because when she is seen around the arena later, she has an abrasion on her head, and there's blood. I mean, not a lot of blood, but there's blood. I'm not for sure if she even makes it to the bathroom, but somehow she ends up outside. And John Paul Jones Arena has a no re-entry policy. So she tries to get in the arena at different points, and she's unable to. Her friends call her about 8:40 something, I think, and she tells them that she's locked out and she's not able to get back in because of the no re-entrance policy. And she's going to find a way home. Now, she lives like an hour, 2 hours away from this arena. And she just walks off and leaves her car and hitchhikes, even though she has no money, because she left, or she gave money to her friend who wanted to buy merchandise.
Which is expensive. You pretty much have to mortgage your soul to be able to afford things at concerts these days.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I looked it up. The supporting acts for the concert that she attended was the same as the supporting acts for the concert we attended. So Lamb of God and Gojira.
Right.
I am not a fan of either band.
I know, that's why we didn't really care that we missed them both. It was a great concert too, by the way. They totally did not disappoint, and I was very nervous because I absolutely hated the Saint Anger album. There are some people who liked it, but
it let me down hardcore.
Well, okay, this is what really got to me. People who don't know music, people who don't know percussion, kept saying Lars needs to tune his drums. But that's not the issue. The drums were in tune. There's a switch on the bottom of a snare drum that turns the metal, I'm not for sure what they're called. I could holler at Abby and ask her, because as a percussionist she would know what that's called. But anyway, there's a little switch thing, and it stops that metal from vibrating.
They're called snare wires.
Are they called snare wires?
They are.
I like that.
I'm like 99% sure that those are called the snares. So,
well, anyway,
Abby will listen to this and she'll be like, "Oh my God, Mom, did you not learn anything?"
I don't really pay attention all that much. Anyway, so he just turned that switch off, and it made the snare sound like
crap.
And nobody should ever do that. There's a reason why those things vibrate, because it makes it sound better.
Yeah.
So that whole album to me was just crap, because I couldn't get past the snare sound. I'm sorry.
And I know they tried to feel it as they were just trying to go back to the roots of Metallica. I've listened to old Metallica.
I am a fan of old Metallica.
That is not how they sounded. back in the olden days.
Yeah, when Cliff Burton was with them, they didn't sound like that. Garage Days, they didn't sound like that. So I'm sorry, Lars, James, if you're listening. You can't tell me that you're going back to your roots.
No.
So I have purchased all of your albums. I've lost most of them. Loaned some out that I never got back. But I did not spend my money on St. Anger.
No. Listen, Lars, if you're listening, I wouldn't have even wasted my bandwidth to illegally download it.
Oh no, we're going to get sued now.
Well, no, I said I wouldn't.
But anyway, speaking of Metallica.
But yeah, he probably will sue us.
After the... And that's so sad because I used to have posters of all of them on my wall when I was in high school. I used to fix my hair like Lars.
I think you fixed my hair like Lars for my kindergarten pictures.
I did. It was great. But anyway, so Metallica was wonderful after we'll just say Morgan goes missing. And they donate $50,000 to the Crime Stoppers.
They are putting it out on their Facebook page and their website.
Right.
They're very actively trying to promote this missing person's case and get her found.
Right, and James is doing PSA announcements. I mean, they really put in the effort, and that's one of the reasons that I really like them. I mean, just one of the reasons, because I obviously liked them before. Her parents didn't know that she was missing until the next day. She was supposed to show up at her parents' house, and her dad was going to tutor her in something, and I'm not really for sure what the subject was, but her dad was a doctor and her mom was a nurse, so maybe something math or sciencey. And she didn't show up. And then they get a phone call from the university saying that her purse was found by a back fence. And they didn't find her, obviously. And it was months and months later before she was found. But something weird that I just couldn't, I don't know, I just couldn't grasp, like, the weirdness of this one incident. But when Morgan went missing, she was wearing a vintage Pantera t-shirt. That's not the weird part, because we both had on vintage t-shirts, like extremely vintage t-shirts.
My Metallica shirt was so vintage that I actually don't own it anymore because it literally disintegrated in the washing machine once.
I do have mine, but the kids have stolen it.
So if any of our listeners have a really vintage Metallica t-shirt, like, 1X, 2X that they'd like to part with, I would love to have it because I miss mine.
Yeah, I think yours was yours Master of Puppets?
No, I think mine was... I don't remember.
I don't either. Anyway, it's fine. So, in April of 2010, so just a few months after her disappearance, a Pantera t-shirt is found outside of an apartment building about 1.5 miles from the arena. And how in the world people walking by put it together that this Pantera t-shirt probably belonged to Morgan Harrington is beyond me, because
I see so many random clothes laying on the road that I wouldn't put two and two together, probably.
I wouldn't either, but miracles upon miracles, somebody did.
There's a stretch of road for like 2 miles from my house where just yesterday I was driving through and there was 4 bras hanging from trees.
Weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to put that together with anything that's happened here. I mean, because, well, it's probably druggies.
But somehow people put it together that this was probably her shirt. And nobody touched it. Also a miracle, there was forensic evidence on this shirt.
Lucky.
Yeah. Finding this shirt actually tied Morgan Harrington's disappearance to a rape that happened in Fairfax in September of 2005. Also unsolved.
Yeah. And then for a while, the case sort of goes a bit cold.
Yeah.
We know that they've got it linked to other crimes now, but that's it.
Yeah, and it stays that way until...
I'm trying to find in my notes when... until about September of 2014. On September 13th, 2014, a girl named Heather Graham goes missing.
Right.
She was last seen that morning at a mall in Charlottesville. She was a student at the University of Virginia. That's it. Yeah, the last her friends heard from her was about 1:30 a.m. when she said she was going to a party. That's not unusual for college students to be going to a party at 1:30 in the morning.
Right. Well, actually, she got him that she was lost. And they were able to link together or piece together some CCTV, which they did not have in the Morgan Harrington, which is another weird link on Morgan, is that, I mean, I assume that, we were at U.S. Bank Arena. I assume that there's cameras everywhere. I didn't look around, but I just assumed that there would be cameras everywhere.
The fact that they only have video of her trying to get back in is weird.
Right. There's no video of her inside. There's no video of anything that happened to her inside. And there's only a couple spots where they find her on video outside. So there's huge chunks of areas where, she's not found. I guess before we jump into Heather, we should say she was last seen on a bridge. What was the name? Do you know the name of the bridge?
I don't think I wrote it down.
There was a father who was dropping his daughter off at her dorm room. And as they crossed this bridge, they saw her hitchhiking. Her thumb was out. And she was walking. The daughter's key card registered when she unlocked her door. And it was...
about 9:30.
About 9:30, yeah. And then the dad stopped at a 7-Eleven, got something to... Actually, her key said it was 9:23. The dad stopped at a 7-Eleven, got something to drink, and then his receipt said it was about 9:30. He crosses the bridge again, and she's not there. So in the space of about 10 minutes, she was picked up and disappeared. Then we have Hannah Graham, who stumbled around Charlottesville for, it looks like, from 11:50 till 1:20-ish, before the last time her friends heard of her that she was lost. And there was a CCTV of a man who was passing Heather Graham, and then turned around and started following her. Well, this was a good clue, and they started looking into that guy. And after searching his apartment, they found a cell phone and some of Hannah's DNA on his vehicle.
There's also video from a restaurant that it has not been confirmed, mainly because the restaurant could lose their liquor license if this was confirmed.
Because she was only 20?
Yes. But in her defense, she was from England originally, and the drinking age is 2 years old in England?
I thought it was 1.5. I thought they put it in bottles.
Oh.
If you're from England, we're just joking.
Yeah. But the restaurant, there's video inside the restaurant of this man, Jesse Matthew, with his arm around her, and she looked very, very drunk.
Yeah.
Another witness said that they don't give a time for when this witness saw her, but it said that they saw her with a man who did not look very friendly.
Yeah. Her remains were found October 18th, 2014, 5 miles from where Harrington's remains were found. And Morgan Harrington was actually very lucky that she was even found. She was at a farm between snowstorms. So the owner of the farm just happened to be out checking to see if he needed to do any repairs around the farm, do any fences or whatever, when he came across her body. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have even known that there was a body there. And when he went to like bale hay or whatever to get his fields ready,
she would have just got bailed up with it.
She would have just got bailed right up with it. Yeah.
And that's a gruesome thing to think about, but it had happened.
Yeah.
So around the same time, Charlottesville police was very adamant that they did not have a serial killer on their hands, because these two girls were not the only women who were disappearing.
Right.
But from the list of women who had disappeared in that area during the time period, these were the only two that can conclusively be linked to one person.
Right, but even though, and this pisses me off. Jesse Matthews' lawyer said that there is no evidence that his client would go on to murder anybody else, that this was these are anomalies. Even though from all the way back to 2002, oddly enough, also October 17th, he's been a suspect in all kinds of different things.
In 2002, he was the main suspect in a rape at Liberty University. Right after those allegations came out, he transferred schools.
Yeah, and then
when he transferred to Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia, and not long after that, a woman, Autumn Wynn Day, which is a really weird name, but hey, some parents are just like that.
Look what our parents' named us.
Exactly. Disappears. And to my knowledge, and from my research, her body has still not been found.
Right.
And then in August of 2003, he quit the football team that he was part of at CNU because he was once again the prime suspect in a sexual assault case.
Right. Then the next month, another girl goes missing.
Sophia May Rivera. She disappeared on September 7th, and she still has not been found. And he has a type. Both Heather Graham, Morgan Harrington, Sophia Rivera, and Autumn Day were all petite people, under 5'5". In September of 2005, in Fairfax City, Virginia, a 26-year-old woman was attacked and raped while walking home.
That was the DNA that linked them all together.
Yes. As a rape suspect, her name has not been released, as it should be. I mean, we shouldn't release names of rape victims.
Right, we shouldn't.
But her having the courage to come forward and report her rape tied this whole thing together. That ended up landing him in prison, finally.
Yeah. Kind of circling back around, though. In September of 2007, he was able to get a permit to operate a taxi. So this predator was disguised as a taxi driver, and really he was just out targeting people. Morgan's parents have been absolutely amazing throughout all of this. Her mom started a nonprofit called Save the Next Girl because, I mean, obviously it was too late for Morgan, but it's not too late to save the next girl. And I would love to say that I would be that kind of person, but I know me well enough to know that I
Something
wouldn't let them
happened to
get.
Abby or Emmy, we would probably both be in prison for torturing the person who hurt them.
I would be like, hopefully everybody has watched this if you're going to watch it, and there's no spoiler alert since it's been off the air forever. But I'd be like Jax when Tara dies, and I would just be killing everybody. I'd be like, I think you may have done it. I'm killing you. Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. I'll kill him then.
But with a good torture element in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Believe me, they don't just kill people on this show. There's always a torture
I
element.
know. I've watched it, but I still think he was a little lax. But no, I mean, like, literally, Morgan Harrington's parents have so much strength. It's amazing. Because I don't know if I could be as together and eloquent as they have been.
Yeah, they were wonderful, and continue to be so. So Jesse Matthews, though, took a plea bargain and admitted to all three of the crimes because he thought that he could get 25 years. But that didn't work out for him, and he ended up getting like 3 consecutive life sentences or 4, or it doesn't matter. He's never getting out. He will die in prison.
Which is really too good for him.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, officially they only have him linked to 2 murders and a rape, but we know that he has killed more. There was too many suspicious deaths around areas that he was living in. And if you learned anything about serial killers from this show, you know that their official body count is never accurate. And part of that is just our justice system not being able to put the pieces together. I mean, just in Kentucky, we have, I don't even know how many thousands of rape kits that have not been processed, going back years.
Yeah.
And when they started, when the state finally got funding to start processing it, they discovered that we actually have some serial rapists working in our state.
Well, I think every state does.
Yes. He's also been linked to, actually, right before Morgan Harrington disappeared, another girl in the Lynchburg area, Cassandra Morton, also disappeared. And law enforcement believe that Jesse Matthew was the one who killed her. He's also been linked to the September 13th disappearance of Samantha Ann Clark, the November 2012 disappearance of Deshad LaQuinn Smith, which that's the odd one out, because Deshad is I don't know if he was just a cross-dresser or if he was a transsexual. I know that he identified as a gay man, but he dressed in women's clothing. And of course he is not with us here to tell me what he would prefer to be called, so...
Because we're all about calling you what you want to be called.
Yeah. He's linked to the disappearance of Alexis Murphy in August of 2013. He's got a long list of victims. Mm-hmm. That we can't 100% say, yes, he killed them, but...
He probably killed them. And there's just no evidence, because either there's no body or he wasn't sloppy and didn't leave DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, really the only DNA that I know of that he left at Morgan Harrington was she fought back and his blood was on her shirt. So that Pantera t-shirt, that's what was tying all of that together, was he bled on her shirt.
Yeah.
So, let that be a lesson to you people. Always fight back.
I think that really is the hallmark of our whole podcast. Always fight back.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
our murderer here, Jesse Matthews, was a big guy.
mm-hmm.
Football player. He was a big guy. Strong. Yet, because Morgan Harrington fought back, even though he outweighed her by 100+ pounds.
She inflicted damage that got him caught.
Yes.
But see, I feel like if our podcast does anything at all, I want it to be that people think twice before they do certain things. Like, for the love of God.
We have a rule, a stringent, strict rule. And the girls learned this rule firsthand when they attended their first concert with both of us. Earlier this year when we went and saw Hayseed.
Right. Well, I mean, I took them to see Miley Cyrus. Just, I don't know. Actually, it was right after. It was November 1st was the Miley Cyrus concert, because I remember it was like right after Halloween. And I made sure, of course, they were little kids then, and of course I wouldn't let them go by themselves, but I explained why we do what we do. And that's, if you are attending a concert, you stick together to go to the bathroom. I mean, you just don't know what is going to happen from your seat to the bathroom and back. I mean, Morgan somehow made her way outside and then was later abducted and killed. Probably nothing that extreme is going to happen to you. But
you never know.
But you never know.
I mean, and with all of these people coming out, being outed as having sexually harassed or sexually assaulted coworkers or other women that they came in contact with, I mean, we need to get these things out in the open, because too long women have been told to just put up with it. But there are really seriously dangerous people in this world.
And you're always safer in pairs.
Yes. I mean, the old joke that women travel in packs. Well, we do, for our own safety. And, I mean, I know it should not be that way, but sadly, you're just going to have to live with that reality, that we are always going to have to be on guard.
Right. I mean, yeah, we shouldn't have to, but would you rather be, I don't know, would you rather be able to say, I am independent and I don't need anybody to go to the bathroom with me, or would you rather, in a freak emergency situation, have backup?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really disappointed with Morgan's friends for letting her go out by herself.
For when they called her and she said, I'm locked out, I'm going to find a way home. Why, for the love of God? I know you paid a lot of money for tickets, but to the person holding her keys to her car, that's not cool.
Run the keys out.
Right.
Even if you just get them to the door and toss them out the open door.
Right. Don't look,
or go to a security guard. There are security guards at every concert, and explain to them, hey, my friend is locked out of the building and I have her keys. Can we do something to fix this situation?
Yeah. I mean,
and to the friends of Heather Graham, why in the world, when she texts you in the middle of the night saying that she is lost, did one of you not
find her?
All of my friends know that if they are in a situation like that, I will drop everything. I will move mountains to make sure that they are safe. How many times did you drive to Richmond to bail a friend of ours well, not bail her out, but to pick her up because she needed help.
Yeah.
Exactly. You take care of people. So, I mean, I believe firmly that Morgan and Heather's friends,
Contributed to their deaths.
yes, they let them down. And I'm sure that they live with that guilt. Because I don't think I could live with myself if I knew that I could have made the difference. That would be eating me alive if I knew that they could possibly be in danger and I didn't go out and help. Because I was having too much fun at a party, or I was listening to a band I really loved and paid a lot of money for their tickets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember exactly how much I spent, but I want to say that it was 100 and something. So, I mean, that's a lot of money, especially for teenagers.
Yeah, especially college students, poor college students.
But, I mean, is your friend's life worth that? Is your friend hitchhiking 2 hours home? You guys were literally going to let her hitchhike home?
Because
when
you
she
have
said,
their keys.
I'll find another way home. And you're like, okay. How the hell
you've got her money because you needed to buy a souvenir, and you've got her keys.
Yeah.
That is insane. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, that just pisses me off. It just... actually, I'm going to say this. So if any of my children's friends are listening, if you guys ever think of doing something like this, you'll be the second person I hunt down.
I really think, though, that your children have listened to us enough, and they've also listened to enough of our podcast and listened to enough of our stories about true crime that they are the ones who are going to be like us and paranoid that something's going to happen to people around them.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the ones who are hyper vigilant and saying, no, you can't leave this concert by yourself.
Well, see, Hannah has gotten used to me and my paranoia about everything, like locking doors and everything. And she laughs about it until something like, we've mentioned it on the podcast, but it's been a while. Somebody tried to break in my front door, and I changed. It was a very weird thing. We were moving furniture that day. I was getting rid of some old furniture, and the door knob was taped so that we didn't do that. That's just somebody taped the door so that it wouldn't latch, so that it could be opened back up at a later time. And I fixed that. We changed the lock that day also. But little things like that is a reminder to her when she laughs at my paranoia that, oh wait, there are bad people. We don't know who did that. We don't know what their intentions were, and I was not going to find out. Hannah wrecked her car last month. Was it October that she wrecked her car? Heather?
Yes. So I think so.
Yeah, Hannah wrecked her car, and I think that it was last month. And if she edits this, she might put in how long ago it was. But anyway, she had a ride to work every morning, and coming home, sometimes I would pick her up. Sometimes she would just walk home because we live close to her work, and she would be getting off about 4:30. It's not dark yet, but she started working nights on Saturdays, and one night I wasn't home, and she was walking home, and she got followed by a group of guys. And everything that we talk about, she said, came back to her. And so she called the house and was talking to Abby and telling her everything, what they looked like, everything that was going on. And then she was talking really loud so that the people following her knew that she was on the phone with somebody. And
that she was giving their details to, yeah.
Yeah, and so she gets closer to the house, and there is a overpass that connects the side of the road that she is on to the side of the road that we live on. Well, they've been doing construction there, so the light on the overpass was out. So she didn't take the overpass. It's only like a 3-lane road, so it's not like it's, it is the major road in town, but it's not like it was a problem for her just to walk, especially at the time she was walking. And then Abby met her at a restaurant down the road from the house, and they walked back up together in the light. So, but that's a situation that ended well, but it very easily could not have ended well had she been oblivious to the fact that she was being followed, or what you should do if you're being followed, or all of that. So then once Abby met with her and they moved more into the light, the guy split off and went to a different way.
Yeah.
And now she carries pepper spray with her.
Yeah. all of these stories really remind me of when I was a student at Morehead State University. Actually, I think we'll be talking about Morehead next week also. Yeah. I'll have to look at our list of our upcoming shows, but I think we'll be talking about them next week too. There was a series of rapes on campus and assaults, and there was a gang rape in my dorm room, actually. Not my room, but my dorm building. And Morehead State University is not a big school.
No.
And the hall I lived in was not very big. Actually, it's not there anymore, but this happened. Actually, I think it happened on my floor, just a few doors down. And the school tried to cover it up. Yeah. Yeah, the school tried to cover it up, and one intrepid reporter at our school newspaper kept reporting on it, and I think that she actually got interviewed by Glamour magazine because of this. Yeah. But I remember one night I was coming back. I did not have a computer at the time, so I was coming back at about. So I didn't have a computer at the time, and I was walking back from the on-campus computer lab, and it was probably about midnight, and I was by myself. At the time, I don't think the university even had those little like panic boxes where you could hit and it would immediately send campus police to your location. I don't think we had those at the time. But a man came up behind me. I could see his shadow from the streetlights walking up, and he kept getting closer and closer. So I would speed up, and then he would speed up. That's never a good sign, ladies.
No, never.
Ever. So I had pepper spray in my pocket, and it was kind of chilly, so I had my coat on, had my hand in my pocket with my pepper spray. So I did the boldest thing, and I turned around. I just stopped dead in my tracks, and I turned around. He almost bumped into me. He was that close. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a problem? Because you are following me extremely close." And at this time, I've also pulled my pepper spray out of my pocket so he can see it, that he is getting ready to get a face full of the good stuff. And he turns and bolts up the stairs to Raider Hall. So, I mean, I knew right then he was not up to any good, but at that point he realized that I was not going to be easy. And You got to learn to make yourself a hard target.
Yeah.
It will not work all. It won't work all the time, but most of the time, douchebags like that, they don't want to have to fight for it.
Right. And if nothing else, be a Morgan Harrington and leave a little
of their DNA behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hate stories like this. I really do. I hate any topic that we have to deal with young people who life ends so tragically.
Right, because she was so excited to see them, and
she had obsessed about what she was going to wear. I mean, like normal. Like, we obsessed about what we were going to wear. We probably talked about it for months.
Yeah.
Planning our outfits for this concert.
And not once did she think, well, this is the night I'm going to die. All she was thinking is, I'm going to have so much fun with my friends, and it's going to be great. And
it should have been.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we went to this concert, we listened to their music all the way up. We were so into it. Funny story about this concert and us.
We almost got jumped by the girls behind us.
Yeah, because one of them was not into it at all, and her friend was excited, and the one that was not into it was just like, oh my God, sit down and like stop singing.
So, I mean, yeah, me and Holly were up and dancing and singing and just having a good time with the people around us besides the girls behind us.
Right. Which I could not imagine spending that kind of money and not being excited about it, but...
No.
But that's not the story I was going to tell, Heather.
We fully immersed ourselves in this concert to the point where we were probably making fools of ourselves.
Oh, we did. And see, that's my
story. Which is where your part of the concert, part of the story comes in.
I mean, and oddly enough, sometime at this concert, I lost my driver's license. And I didn't realize it until a couple days being back home. And I kept saying, oh, Lars has my license, and he's going to hand deliver it. He's going to hand deliver it. Actually, it did get mailed back to me the day after I got a replacement license. So I was kind of bummed about that. But anyway, so at the time that we went to this concert, I was not teaching then. Oh, no, I was teaching, but I was teaching at a different school. So a couple years later, I'm teaching at a preschool, and my teacher's aide, well, one of my teacher's aides, her boyfriend comes at the end of the day and is helping her like close down the room and, get everything clean and just ready to start the next day. And I'm leaving because I'm done. And I noticed on the back of his car, he had a Metallica sticker. And I ran back inside and I said, oh, you're a Metallica fan. Because this was the first day I ever met him. I said, oh, you're a Metallica fan. Me too. And he said, oh, yeah, I'm a huge fan. And I was like, I got to see them in concert not too long ago. And he said, me too. He said, oh, my God, I've got to play you this audio of these girls that were going crazy in front of us. And then I had to sit there and listen to audio of myself singing and dancing and going crazy. And I start laughing. And I was like, yeah, I know that girl.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was just so fun.
If you ever run into us at a concert, we'll probably be the ones making fools of ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you approach us, approach with caution, because, we are quick to pepper spray.
We drove to Nashville. We worked all day, drove to Nashville.
We had so much fun. I didn't work that day. I kind of worked. I had a teaching event. I don't teach, but I do living histories. So I had to go that morning and set up at a grade school, work with a bunch of little kids all day, and then Holly picked me up. I think you picked me up at the school, actually.
I did.
And we drove to Nashville.
Well, I did teach all day, little kids. And then I drove and picked Heather up, backtracked an hour.
Get stuck in standstill traffic outside of E-Town.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we were not moving. We ended up doing our makeup sitting in traffic because we were not moving.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was also where we found soup beans at a gas station. It was very weird, and only in Kentucky can you find soup beans at a gas station.
Yeah.
But we make it to the concert. We're like fourth through the door or something. Literally, we are front row center at the stage to see our other favorite band, Hasty Dixie, which we've mentioned 100 times on this podcast, and like seriously look them up because you'll love them too. But we wouldn't even go to the bathroom all night long because we can't. If we left in pairs, we would lose our space.
We peed as soon as we got there, and their bathrooms at the exit in was kind of
scary.
How can I put this nicely? I mean, it's the bathroom you would expect in a bar.
Yeah, well, it was a bar. So,
but you know what? It doesn't matter because the concert was amazing.
It was, but we didn't pee the whole night because we got there. Because then we were not going to drink anything because that would also involve leaving. So yeah, it was pretty much us standing front row center against the stage.
Well, I did almost drink a little bit when the banjo player spilled his beer on me.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to look down my shirt. Fun times.
It was.
But, and I'm sure there's probably video of us going crazy at that concert, too.
Probably.
But, yeah, we have very stringent rules. And I'm sure there's some listeners out there who are like, these girls sound like fuddy-duds because they are just so, this, and this has to happen. But I don't know. We have a lot of fun, but we also are trying to be very cautious.
Yeah, because the worst thing to ruin your fun is you or somebody dying.
Yeah.
I mean, death is the ultimate mood killer.
So there's been something that's happened a couple times in the house, and my first thought, and because it is the least scary thought, is paranormal. But I don't think it's paranormal.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned it on the podcast. A couple months ago, I was in the shower and I heard somebody. Our shower shares an outside wall. So I hear somebody walking up the ramp. And then I hear our door open. And when I get out of the shower, because I was just turning off the water, I'm thinking that Anthony's in the house, and then I'm thinking he's hiding in our laundry room to scare me, and I'm surprised that he wasn't.
That's a totally Anthony thing to do.
Yes, he recently got banned from scaring me because I was coming up the last time we recorded. I was coming up to the house, and I just sent him a text message saying going up to the house to record. I thought he was in our sewing shop. I was not expecting him to be in the house, so I open up our back door. And he jumps out at me. And I literally, if I'd had a gun in my hand, I would have shot him. Because, I'm surprised I didn't have a heart attack from like the adrenaline that shot through me. But he got banned from scaring me now because, yeah. It was bad. He is very lucky that I did not have a weapon in my hand at the moment. But a couple weeks ago, I was standing in the bedroom, folding laundry, and my back is to the door. And just outside of our bedroom door is the kitchen and laundry room, and the laundry room has the door to the outside. That's the door we primarily use.
Right.
That door also faces the hillside, and so it's kind of sheltered and hidden. Because, it's a hillside and then our one of our big storage buildings. So I'm standing there and I'm folding clothes, and I hear our back door open, and I say hi because I'm thinking he's coming in the house. And then the door shuts and nothing. No one came in the house.
Well, you need to
So,
follow Holly's first rule of being at home and lock the door.
Well, I know I should, but we only have one. Well, there's 2 keys, but one is stored at his mom's house in case of emergency. We only have 1 key to this door, so only one of us can have a key at a time.
I'm going to make you a key for Christmas. It's going to cost like $1.
I know, but we never carry.
Is $1 worth saving your life?
I think we're just going to get, and I say just going to. I think we're going to invest in some good security cameras that we can monitor from our cell phones. But that also records to a hard drive.
Okay, you know what else you should do? Get another key.
True. But, yeah, we're probably going to be getting security cameras very soon because that bothers me.
Well, as it should.
And like I said, I would love to think that this was paranormal because it being paranormal is less scary than a human being trying to get into my home.
But more than
ghosts,
likely, it's
yeah,
a human
ghosts
being.
don't scare me. Ghosts don't scare me. Human beings scare me.
Well, that's because people suck.
They do. But you know what? Next week we're going to have a lighthearted paranormal episode.
We are.
And actually, even if you don't normally listen to our paranormal episodes, tune in next week. You have got to hear these stories. And pretty much they're all personal stories.
Yep, every one of them, I believe.
Yeah. It's going to be really, really fun.
So do we have a true crime? A true crime. Do we have a stupid criminal?
Let's see. I'm fairly
certain. A lot of crazy shit has happened this week, so I mean, we should have an abundance of stupid criminals.
Well, we've got the 911 report that you sent me.
Oh, yes. Okay, so speaking of Morehead State University, somebody on campus called 911 from... I'm not going to say the name of the dorm room that they're in, but I'm going to say that Heather and I both have lived here. The male subject, so I don't really know that this is a criminal, but it is very stupid, and I know that you guys are going to love this. He was calling 911 because he snorted cornstarch. Yeah, cornstarch. I don't know what cornstarch actually does for you other than he's going to have some really thick snot. But
well, I use cornstarch to bathe the bunny rabbits, but I don't think he was like bathing his nose.
I don't think so.
So, are we going to use him as our stupid criminal? I think he's pretty darn stupid.
I do. Oh, actually, no. I think I have another stupid criminal. So, this one actually happened in your area. So, a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that a girl that has spent many nights with us growing up was in jail for the death of her newborn baby. Well, to add to that, she didn't do anything. She's still in prison.
Jail. She's not in prison yet. She's in jail.
Okay. She's still in jail. But somebody broke into her house and trashed it, stole stuff. I think that they were even like maybe doing drugs. I don't know if they were making drugs also, but it was definitely being used as a drug den flop house thing while she was gone. And I don't know that she knows these people. She more than likely does not. But the cops came because they knew where she was.
A neighbor called 911 because they thought they heard something in the house. The cop arrives and he's like, well, I know this house is empty because I arrested this girl. Makes entry into the home and discovers that it has literally been trashed. He said the house looked like it had been ransacked. And he found 2 guys in there on drugs. And now they're in jail with the person who owns the house.
Yeah.
Um, thought the cop had a really good line. He was like, "Yes, even though she's in jail, I still have the obligation, the constitutional obligation to protect her property."
Yeah.
Because I guess some people thought it was weird that, they worried so much about a criminal's house.
Well, I mean,
she's innocent until proven guilty.
I know that we joke it's guilty until proven innocent, but I mean, really, she's not been found guilty of anything yet. So, yeah, you have to protect her stuff. Even if she was guilty, you need to protect her stuff.
Then we'll keep you posted on that case, whether or not she is found guilty when she goes to trial. Probably won't be going to trial until sometime next year or so, with how slow the court system works in this area.
It's just everywhere. It's just slow. That's why I used to want to be a lawyer, but I'm so glad that I did not, because I would be so frustrated.
You do not have the patience to be a lawyer.
I don't. Well, I mean, not just that everything moves so slow, but I would also be the type of person that, I'd be violent. If I found out that my client was guilty of something totally heinous, I would probably slam their head on the table or some shit. Like, I just couldn't.
I used to work in the court system. That kind of got to me. Because we'd be seeing the same people for, a year, 2 years, every so often at a status hearing before they ever saw a trial.
Well, even
as far as criminals go, we'd see the same people every court day.
We'll just say even a divorce.
Usually for the same things.
How long did it take me to get divorced and it was uncontested?
Too long. But part of that was also because your attorney lost your check and then lost your paperwork, and very disorganized.
Very. I would call him constantly. I was like, I do not want to be married anymore. I do not want to be married.
Didn't they try to charge you again because they lost your check?
I think so.
And I think at that point you went off on them. It was like, you better find that. Blah, 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 blah. Beep, beep. Holly is not somebody you ever want to make angry. Especially if it's something stupid that you've done.
I know. See, I had this wonderful kindergarten teacher who I idolized and wanted to be just like. And she once told me when I came back, when I was going to school to be a teacher, and I went to observe her classroom as a peer instead of her kindergarten student. And I told her how many wonderful memories I have of her in her classroom, and how does she do it day in and day out. And she said, I have infinite patience with those who don't know better, but the second that you know better, I lose all patience. And that's me. I've always been like that. That's why I love 3 and 4 year olds. That's my age group. I thrive on preschoolers. But
actually, a couple months ago, a big group of us, probably 10, 15 people who had all had her as kindergarten, was talking about her on Facebook, and she saw the post.
I didn't see that.
Yes, Brenton started it, one of our cousins, and she cried, and she's like, I am just so overwhelmed that I made such a big impact on you all.
Oh, she was wonderful.
She was a wonderful teacher. The teacher I had the next year was absolutely horrible.
Me too.
And if I can find where she is buried at, I will dance on her grave.
Did you have Preston also?
No. I had, what's her name? Burchett.
Oh, I didn't have her.
She wore house dresses every day.
I had one that wore house dresses all the time too, but I don't remember.
Oh, I hated her.
I don't think she was a Burchett.
For people who are listening, I have a learning disability. Actually, I have a couple learning disabilities. And in first grade, it had not been discovered yet. So this teacher decided to take it upon herself to spank me every day in front of the class because I was being stupid, disruptive, and she had already went over all of this a dozen times. I should have caught on by now. So, yeah, I hate her, and I have good reason to.
Yeah.
She literally went out of her way to break my spirit.
Well, I mean, Emmy had the exact same kind of teacher in second grade. And she tried to come up to me. Emmy's dyslexic, and she got diagnosed right after this because I had to be a strong, forceful advocate, and it it took them pissing me off, and I had she tortured my daughter for a year. I'm not going to go into details of all of the shit that she did, but she was mentally abusive to her. And I mean, Emmy is the sweetest kid ever. Yeah. I always joke that she's really an angel. Like, but anyway, she had this horrible, horrible teacher, and at the end of the year, it all blew up, and I demanded a meeting. I ended up having to call the superintendent because I couldn't get assistance by contacting the school. She was avoiding me. And I asked for every single person that saw my child in a day to come to this meeting. And at one point, this bitch told me that she was lazy and stupid and that she needed to be held back. And I jumped across the table, and my ex-husband, who was my ex-husband at the time, we weren't married, grabs a hold of my shirt, pulls me back off the table, and says, "She's not worth going to jail. Emmy needs you." And I was like, Emmy does need me, and I will not punch her today. But the jury's still out. When she retires, I will probably hunt her down and punch her. That had nothing to do with murder or true crime. Although I guess it could have been true crime had I actually punched her.